Hey, so welcome to today's video. Working once again on the Mazda 6. This is part 2 of the maintenance series. Yeah, just did the oil change on it. Not too difficult. Just going to show a couple of pictures. You can do it at home. It's just you might need a thing of vice grips. You might need a thing of vice grips, or I don't know, some other tool to get the OEM drain plug off. But you can go to the parts store, buy this M15 or something like that, M15 bolt. Short, get the short one, not the long one, get the short one. But yeah, just chuck that in there and top her off with oil and a filter and you're done. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple. You can do it in like 5 minutes. I do it in like 5 minutes on this car. It's not difficult. But the brakes, though, the first time I did the brakes, it took me about 2 hours or so, I would say. And I did the rotors as well that day, too. So the rotors are still in pretty decent shape. It's just the brakes are what are needing replacing today. And what kind of brakes we're going to be throwing in there? It's going to be the Quiet Cast Bosch ones. Just a brake pad. Nothing too special there. So yeah, let's go on and get into the video. Alright, so after you jack the vehicle up, get it situated, what you're going to do is you're going to grab a 21mm socket and zip the wheels off. I went ahead and zipped all 4 off, but after that, you're going to shake the vehicle, do a shakedown, basically just grab it, give it a good shake. Don't fall off, then you're good. If it falls off, then you're not good. So what's the first thing you're going to do? First thing is you're going to grab a 14mm socket, and you're going to remove this caliper bolt and that caliper bolt. They're both 14s, and that's all that you're going to have to remove on the brake pads. Rotors, though, this bracket has to come off, the caliper bracket has to come off, and that is a 17 or an 18, and there's 2 of those back there, and then you can pull that off afterwards. It just adds an extra like 30 seconds to a minute on there, depending on what kind of tools you have. Yeah, let's get this off real quick and let me show you how to do the rest. Alright, here's the new pad. Looks good, looks new. We're not going to look at the overspray. Nice, brand new one. And we'll look at the company so we know who oversprayed on it. Because that's the point. Here's the old one. Pretty worn out, pretty used. Yeah. I'll just show you the comparison real quick. Yeah, it's basically worn out. First things first is before you install the pads, you're going to put your wear indicator on there, and I'll just pull, well, can't really pull it off, but you're just going to slide it on there on the very top of your pad. So whenever it goes in like this side's going to be facing inwards. Yeah, so what's next? I'm going to basically grab something and just Alright, and another thing that I failed to mention a second ago is this. Take a look while you're in here. Look for signs of damage and wear. I've noticed that, you know, the boot to the caliper is bad. And a few of the other rubber components are bad in this. That kind of maintenance coming on a later date. You can see here, I just have a pretty basic caliper compression tool. gets the job done, so I'm not too worried. Yeah, you just need to do what I'm doing. I'm gonna drive it, see how it feels, and if it needs the brakes bled, I'll just bleed them tomorrow morning, because we ain't gonna do any driving except for back to our place tonight. So that's all the driving that we're gonna do, and then tomorrow morning I'll bleed them if they need to be bled. So not a big deal. That's all the way in there. We're now just going to remove this. Guide pins are stuck at all, just grab a bolt and just grab the caliper bolt, screw it in, and pull it. And I would give it a nice, good amount of that grease. Okay, now after you've greased up the guide pins, you're now going to try not to destroy the cheap pads you bought, and just slide her on in there. Line it up, put the bolts in, and tighten her up, and that's all that you do for the fronts. Yeah, basically all that you need for the front brakes is just a 21 millimeter to get, of course, all the lug nuts off, all around, all 20 lug nuts. You need a 21 millimeter, and a 14 to get the caliper bolts off, something to get the anti-rattle pieces off, and then some sort of brake parts lubricant to put on this and the guide pins, because the guide pins do get stuck in, as you saw a second ago. They were not wanting to move, which is probably where a lot of, well, is where a lot of the braking issue was coming from. But yeah, just do this on whichever side. But yes, just pick whichever side you want to, start on it, and then repeat. And that's how it's going to work for the front ones. Now let's go on and move on to the back one. Alright, over here on the rear end, it's very similar to the front, except for this. This is for these rear disc brakes, well, rear caliper. It's been a long day. Rear caliper piston. Yeah, we're gonna use this one to put in there and turn, and it's gonna depress the piston that's inside of there. That is gonna take a minute because it's freaking slow, but same process. 14 mil. These ones with the wear indicators go in the back, and yeah, so we're gonna go and do that real quick. Okay, I think while we're right here, I'm going to, well, first off, fix this, because what the hell is happening here? There it goes. Mostly. There, now it's mostly fixed. Since we're right here, I'm just gonna go on and do this part. You know you live in the country / rural Tennessee whenever you see that shit. Tractor driving down the road. Yeah, that's very normal down here. I'm sure it's normal anywhere where there's farmland, but just saying. I think I got that depressed almost all the way in. I'm not sure, don't really care. I'll figure it out in a minute. No, right now we're just going to, not trying to cut our fingers open, but just pull these hose off. Throw the new ones on, like that. just like that. Just like that, and just like in the front. I'm gonna put a dollop of Daisy on there. No, just a dollop of parts grease. And before we throw everything else on, let's go on and pull these off. And I know you're supposed to clean them off, but hey, grease is grease. More the better, right? No, it's the opposite. All right, just like that. You've done the brakes on the 2014 Mazda 6. I'll be right back though. Gonna throw the wheels on, take it for a test drive because we did that oil change earlier. And yeah, we ain't gonna talk about that just yet. So yeah, I'll be right back. Okay, so we is back after a couple of days. It is after the 4th of July weekend. Yes, I am back to looking at the car. The variable valve timing solenoid, I believe, is starting to go out. Because first off, it is pissing oil out of there. And second off, it has been getting horrible gas mileage lately, making way more noise. And the high pressure fuel pump is not leaking like some people suggested it could be on some of the Mazda groups I've been asking in. But for the most part, it looks like it's probably the variable valve timing solenoid. But how's the car done? Oil-wise, it's done great. It's driven fine. Nothing to complain there. Spark plug-wise, still doing great. Still running good. Brakes, they do great. So I'm not going to bleed them. Brake fluid looks still pretty freaking good as usual. I'll even look at it real quick. Yeah, it looks like brake fluid in there, so I'm not really too worried there. It stops great. We did the braking process while doing that test drive the other day, going up to speed, slowing down, going up to speed, slowing down, stuff like that. And I took it on the interstate, and it did great. No complaints, no issues. Yeah, so there's that. Any more maintenance that's going to be done on this car will be added at some point. As I said, suspension will probably be one of the next things that gets worked on. And valve cover. I'm going to be showing how to do the valve cover and most likely that variable valve timing solenoid at the same time. Because the only way to get to that solenoid is by taking off the valve cover, and when you take off the valve cover, you have to replace the seal anyway, so why not do it all while I'm in there, right? So that is it for today's video. Yeah, basically just showed y'all how to do the brakes on there, gave y'all a little bit of information on the oil change for the car. Yeah, mostly just did the brakes. So yeah, if y'all have any questions, comments, anything like that, just leave them down below, or you can message me on my Instagram. I typically reply back pretty quick on there. But yeah, catch y'all on the next one.